A very warm welcome to all my dear students to physics class. Today I am going to start with the chapter Reflection of Light from class 10. I know you have already studied about light in the previous classes, and this year we are going to study in detail about reflection of light and some other phenomena related with light. So let's try to revise what we have learned in the previous classes. Let's look at some of these pictures. The beam of light coming from the rising sun, very energetic picture, right? In the morning when you see this beam of light coming from the sun, we get more energized, am I right? And think, can you imagine a world without light? No, right? Imagine that situation. It's very difficult to imagine also, right? Because this form of energy, light, that is very much attached to our life. In the second diagram, you can see many people, they were very excited to click pictures because they could see themselves multiple times in these mirrors. So we can understand that even, so you can see kids and elders clicking pictures there because they are excited to see themselves multiple times. But how it is possible? So if you know the answer, just keep in mind we are going to discuss all this in detail in this chapter. I have another interesting picture. This picture I have clicked from my house. The rising sun, when the sun was rising, there were some clouds, and this beautiful picture I came to see in the morning and I clicked it. And I'm very happy to share this picture here. So this gives us a question, how, right? How that color is formed there. So let's see, by the end of the chapter light, we will be able to answer these questions or not. Another beautiful one, I'm very lucky to say that again this picture also clicked from my house. A rainbow, a beautiful rainbow formed, right? So this is another, this is because of another phenomenon of light. So that shows that, see, I have just showed you only 2-3 pictures. That itself shows that there are a lot of magical things which this light creates. What is this light? What is light? If someone asks you what is light, do you have an answer for that? It's little bit difficult to answer, right? I know that, because we know what is light, but how do we frame that into a sentence? That's a little bit difficult task. Okay, so let me say that light is a form of energy which creates a sensation of vision in our eyes. That makes sense, right? Because of light, we are able to see the things. Because of light, we are able to see the objects. We are able to see this beautiful rainbow because of light. If there is no light, especially this phenomenon will not happen, and we will not be able to see that beautiful rainbow. Okay, so let's say that light is a form of energy. It's a form of energy which creates a sensation of vision in our eyes. Let me show the first picture in our textbook. The girl is having a doubt. Why do they write like this on vehicle mirrors? Have you ever seen what they have written on this vehicle mirrors? What do they write there? The objects in the mirror are closer than they appear. That is what is written on that mirror. This is the rear view mirror of a vehicle. And if you know it, what type of mirror, just try to answer that. It's a spherical mirror. That's all I'm saying now. We are going to study that in detail. So the objects in the mirror are closer than they appear. So when we look at these rear view mirrors, we see the image of the vehicles behind us, and we have to know that it is it's somewhere nearby us, because we may feel it is far away from us, but actually it is closer than what we see inside this mirror. This gives a lot of questions in my mind. So what type of mirror it is? Why it is smaller, right? We don't see a bigger image there. Why it is smaller, right? And why we say that it is closer than they appear. I'm just throwing all these questions to you. Keep this in mind. We have the answers for all these questions by the end of this chapter. Okay, so get ready to learn this wonderful phenomenon of light in detail. Before going into the phenomena of light, you might have heard about these two words, ray of light and beam of light. This is the repeated words. These are the repeated words you hear in physics classes. Ray of light and beam of light. So what is the meaning of these two words? You can see here, a ray of light is a single straight line path of light. Maybe in the small classes you have studied light travels in straight line. We call it as rectilinear propagation of light. Already I have shown you the diagram of the rising sun where the beam of light comes. Maybe if you have observed, I use the word beam of light coming from the rising sun. Okay, so what is that? So why I didn't say a ray of light coming from the sun? So this ray of light, understand, it is a single straight line path which shows the direction of light or in which path the light goes. And a collection of rays of light or a bunch of rays of light. We can say that a bunch of rays of light. Okay, a bunch of rays of light is called as beam of light. Bunch of rays of light. Understood? So next time when anyone says that, okay, a ray of light, right? So you automatically in your mind, the ray of light comes. In maths, you know what is a ray, right? So it has a direction. Direction is important. We have to show which direction the light goes. Okay. So in detail, we're going to learn about ray diagrams. What are these ray diagrams, right? So we will be representing the light whichever direction it moves and whichever direction it reflects back. We will be representing that using ray diagram because it is not convenient to show many rays of light. Okay, so this single ray of light, if it is representing one path, that is applicable for all these rays of light. That means for the beam of light. Clear? So it's like, see, when we cook rice, we just take 2 or 3 grains to see whether it is cooked or not, right? If one or two of them we feel that it's cooked, the entire thing in that vessel, that is completely cooked, right? That is, we don't normally check each and every grain of rice to check whether it is cooked or not. We just see 1 or 2. That represents the entire thing. Okay, so it's like a leader, right? So the leader representing the entire team. So the ray of light is the leader here. So whichever part this ray of light shows, we can understand that the beam of light also follows that. Okay, so beam of light is what we really see in real life. Ray of light is a representation. Got it? Now let's understand the phenomenon of reflection of light. Reflection of light. So here you see a video where a ray of light, I have used a ray of light incident on a plane mirror. This is a plane mirror. Okay, plane mirror. So a ray of light incident on the plane mirror, it reflects back. What do you mean by a reflection then? Imagine you are throwing a ball on the floor. After hitting the floor, it bounces back. Which direction it bounces back? Will it go to the other side of the floor? No, right? It comes back to the same side but at some angles, right? So in whichever angle we have thrown, accordingly it bounces back. It is not going outside that floor. That means here also, in reflection also, whichever surface it hits, it bounces back to the same medium. Okay, so suppose this is the medium. This is the medium from where this light is coming. So light comes, hits the mirror, bounces back to the same medium. So reflection of light is bouncing back of light to the same medium after hitting a surface. Okay, so normally when we talk about reflection, we used to say that after reflecting from the mirror, after hitting the mirror, it bounces back to the same medium. So this phenomenon is called as reflection of light. Now, you see this, the light which is incident on the plane mirror, right? That is called as incident ray. The ray of light which is incident on the plane mirror. So here we have the plane mirror. Understand how we represent the plane mirror. It's very, very important. We have to draw like this. Because if you simply draw a straight line, only drawing a straight line, that means that it is a transparent interface. Mirror is not transparent, right? It will not allow the light to pass through it. It reflects the light. So this is the plane mirror, and the ray which is incident on the plane mirror is called as incident ray. Okay, incident ray, and the ray which is reflected back is called as the reflected ray. Understanding, right? Reflected ray. So we have learned two terms, the incident ray and the reflected ray, and another thing is the normal. So what is normal? We are going to draw a perpendicular at the point of incidence. So another word is point of incidence. Point of incidence. So what is point of incidence? Point of incidence means the point at which the ray of light strikes the mirror. So here O is represented as the point of incidence. So wherever this ray comes and strikes the mirror, that is called as the point of incidence, and we are going to draw a perpendicular at the point of incidence, highlighted, because we can draw n number of normals to a plane mirror. I can draw here, I can draw another one, and I can draw another normal there. In maths terms, normal is fine, but in optics, we have to say that normal means the normal or the perpendicular drawn at the point of incidence is called as normal. Now, we have to measure the angle between the normal and the incident ray, that is called as angle of incidence, and the angle measured between the normal and the reflected ray is called as angle of reflection. Here you can see that very clearly, angle of incidence and angle of reflection. So, hope you understood all the terms related with reflection of light. Now, let's learn the very important thing, laws of reflection. What are the laws of reflection? So, we have talked about the angle of incidence and angle of reflection. So, the laws of reflection states that the angle of incidence is always equal to the angle of reflection. Angle of incidence is always equal to the angle of reflection. Incident angle I is equal to angle R. It's always true. Wherever reflection takes place, angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. Okay, this is the first law. Then, the incident ray, reflected ray, and the normal to the surface are in the same plane. Incident ray, reflected ray, and the normal to the surface are in the same plane. What do you mean by that? Here you can see the picture where you have a plane mirror and a beam of light. With the help of torch light, a beam of light is incident here, and here are the reflected beam. So when you draw the normal, so can you say which is the point of incidence? So this is going to be the point of incidence. So the mirror is in the vertical plane and the incident beam and reflected beam are on the horizontal plane. Horizontal plane means on the table, right? We are performing it on the table. So that is the plane which contains the incident ray and the reflected ray. So we can draw the normal perpendicular to the point of incidence, right? So this is our normal. Everything is on this sheet of paper. Understanding, right? Everything is on the sheet of paper, which that means with the plane which contains the incident ray and the reflected ray. So the second law of reflection is that it states that the incident ray, reflected ray, and the normal to the surface are in the same plane. So this is a very important thing you have to learn. So learn the laws. Angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection. So what is angle of incidence? Remember always angle of incidence is angle between the normal and the incident ray. All the angles are measured from the normal. It's very, very important thing. Okay, angle of reflection is angle between the normal and the reflected ray, and the normal means the perpendicular drawn at the point of incidence. Okay, so we learned about what is light. It's the form of energy which enables the sensation of vision in us. And we learned about the phenomenon of reflection of light. So in the next class, we are going to learn about the types of reflection and the reflection from a plane mirror in detail. So read the textbook, learn whatever we have discussed today, and come back for the next class. See you in the next class. Bye.